It began with a quiet ping in the middle of the night, a soft chime that only a handful of NASA engineers even noticed. Another data package had just come in from one of their deep space observatories, the one tracking the mysterious interstellar object known as 3I/Atlas. But when the first image loaded on the monitor, the room fell silent. At first, it looked like any other snapshot from deep space, a glowing blur drifting through endless black. But then someone zoomed in and froze. There were straight lines where there shouldn't be, perfect symmetry where randomness should rule. It was as if something had been built, not formed. The analysts ran diagnostics, convinced it was a glitch. The pattern didn't vanish. It grew clearer with every recalibration. Within minutes, alerts were sent up the chain. By dawn, NASA scientists around the world were staring at the same frame, one question echoing in every room: what did we just discover? And the more they looked, the less it looked natural. You are watching Deep Time Earth. What exactly is 3I/Atlas? Setting the scene. Before we dive deeper into the mystery, let's rewind for a second. 3I/Atlas isn't just another space rock wandering through the void. It's what scientists call an interstellar object. That means it didn't come from our solar system. It came from somewhere far beyond, drifting for millions of years before crossing paths with us. We've only seen two others like it, the cigar-shaped Oumuamua and the icy comet Borisov. But 3I/Atlas, it's different. Its path through space bends slightly, as if something is guiding it. Its light flickers like a coded message from the dark. Even its speed defies the usual gravitational logic. It's almost as if something isn't moving randomly. It's moving with intent. And that's what makes 3I/Atlas the strangest visitor we've ever encountered. The moment of discovery. It happened quietly, just another night of routine observation. A cluster of astronomers were scanning the outer edges of the solar system when something flickered across their monitors. At first, it looked like a fainted smudge of light, nothing special. But within minutes, every telescope locked onto it. The object was moving fast, too fast. Its rotation was uneven, as if it were tumbling, yet somehow maintaining a perfect rhythm, almost like it was balancing itself. Even stranger, the light it reflected didn't behave the way it should. It shimmered in pulses, brightening and fading in a steady pattern, almost like Morse code from the dark. Calculations showed it wasn't following a normal comet path. It was cutting across gravitational lines, bending physics just slightly, but enough to make scientists uneasy. Something about 3I/Atlas felt deliberate, and that's when curiosity turned to alarm. The first puzzles begin. When the first numbers came in, no one wanted to believe them. The data didn't just look strange, it looked impossible. 3I/Atlas was colder than it should have been, yet parts of its surface were giving off faint bursts of heat, almost rhythmic, like a machine powering up and cooling down again. Then came the brightness readings. Instead of fading as it spun, light from one side flared in precise intervals, too exact for nature's randomness. Instruments even picked up tiny pulses of energy, like signals echoing through the vacuum of space. At first, the team blamed a malfunction, maybe a calibration glitch or interference from solar radiation. But when separate observatories across the world reported the same pattern, that excuse vanished. Whatever was happening out there, it wasn't an error. And that realization sent a quiet chill through every control room watching 3I/Atlas. The image drop that changed everything. Rising action. Then came the moment that changed everything. The image drop. Fresh data streamed in from a deep space observatory and unexpectedly from one of the orbiters circling Mars. When the first high-resolution shots of 3I/Atlas loaded onto the screen, even the most seasoned scientists stopped breathing. It didn't look like rock or ice. The surface was smooth, eerily smooth, with sharp, deliberate edges cutting across its terrain. Some areas reflected light in perfect symmetry, like polished metal. Others formed repeating hexagonal patterns too precise to be coincidence. And then there was the glow, a faint blue shimmer crawling slowly across its surface, as if something beneath the crust was alive. Zoom after zoom, the structure only became stranger. It looked less like a comet and more like a design. The lab fell silent. One researcher whispered, "This doesn't look natural." And for the first time, NASA scientists weren't just studying a passing object. They were staring at a mystery that might have been built. The world reacts. Within hours, the images leaked online, and the internet exploded. Hashtags about 3I/Atlas trended worldwide as people zoomed into every pixel, convinced they were staring at alien technology. Reddit threads, YouTube breakdowns, and late-night talk shows all joined the frenzy. Everyone had a theory, a hidden base, a derelict ship, or even a message left drifting through time. Scientists tried to stay calm, rushing to verify what they were seeing. Labs across Europe, Asia, and the US began analyzing the images frame by frame, searching for natural explanations, but none seemed to fit. Meanwhile, NASA and the European Space Agency went completely silent. No updates, no statements, just silence. And that quiet said more than words ever could. Because when the world started asking if 3I/Atlas was proof of something not from here, the people who should have had answers suddenly had none. And that's when the speculation truly began to spiral. Digging into the data. Midpoint suspense. Once the excitement settled, the real work began. Teams of scientists from around the world dove headfirst into the data. Every pixel, every reflection, every flicker of light bouncing off 3I/Atlas. What they found didn't make sense. The object's spectral readings, the chemical fingerprints of its surface, didn't match anything known on Earth. No standard comet dust, no asteroid minerals, no recognizable pattern at all. Instead, it showed traces of elements that shouldn't naturally coexist, almost like an alloy, a blend of metals forged with purpose. The deeper they looked, the stranger it got. Some wavelengths showed perfect uniformity, the kind you'd expect from something manufactured. Others hinted at a layer that absorbed radiation completely, as if designed to hide what's underneath. Debates erupted overnight. Was it a new kind of cosmic material, a natural miracle, or something made? No one could agree, but one thing was certain. 3I/Atlas had just rewritten the rulebook of what's possible in our universe. The hidden signal. Then came the discovery that froze everyone in their tracks. A signal. Buried deep within the data, engineers picked up a faint, rhythmic pulse coming from 3I/Atlas. It wasn't loud or erratic. It was slow, steady, deliberate. Every few hours, a low-frequency vibration echoed through the detectors, almost like a heartbeat in the dark. At first, they thought it was cosmic noise, background radiation, interference from deep space. But when the pattern repeated with perfect precision, again and again, doubt turned into disbelief. The signal never changed its timing, never lost rhythm. Some called it mechanical resonance. Others whispered it might be something else. A transmission, a beacon, or maybe a system still functioning. Whatever it was, 3I/Atlas wasn't silent anymore.
And for the first time, it didn't feel like we were just observing it. It felt like something out there had finally noticed us. Theories spiral out of control. As news of the strange signal spread, the scientific world went into chaos. Every expert seemed to have a different explanation, and none of them fully made sense. Some insisted 3II Atlas was just a fractured comet spinning in a magnetic field strong enough to mimic a signal. Others argued that no natural force could create such perfect timing. Then came the whispers, theories that made even seasoned scientists uneasy. What if 3II Atlas wasn't a rock at all, but a probe? Something built maybe long ago, and maybe not by us. Conferences turned into debates, and debates into arguments. Each new observation only deepened the confusion. One reading would confirm a natural origin, the next would destroy that theory completely. The truth was slipping further away. And somewhere between logic and fear, one idea began to take root. Maybe 3II Atlas isn't here by accident. Maybe it's been watching us all along. NASA's unusual silence. At first, NASA responded like it always does, calmly, scientifically, reassuringly. But then, something changed. The updates stopped coming. The public data feeds that once tracked 3II Atlas in real time, suddenly offline. When journalists asked why, they were told it was routine maintenance. But insiders knew better. Leaked emails hinted that NASA had detected something they couldn't explain, or maybe didn't want to. Lines were redacted, reports vanished from servers, and a much-anticipated press briefing was quietly canceled just hours before it was set to begin. Even scientists working on the project started going silent. Some deleted social media accounts overnight. Others refused to comment altogether. It was as if a shadow had fallen over the entire investigation. And in that silence, the world began to wonder. Was NASA hiding a mistake? Or had they discovered something too extraordinary, too dangerous to reveal? The tension was no longer scientific. It was human. And it was about to break. The Mars rover connection. Just when everyone thought the mystery couldn't get stranger, it did. A set of leaked images surfaced online, not from a telescope on Earth, but from the Mars rover. One of its sky cams, designed to capture the thin Martian atmosphere, had caught something unusual. 3II Atlas glowing far brighter than expected, hanging above the rust-red horizon. At first, researchers dismissed it as a camera glitch. But then came the energy readings. For a few brief seconds, the object emitted a spike, not random radiation, but a focused pulse, almost like something inside it had momentarily awakened. Across labs, scientists stared at the data in disbelief. Why would a space rock, supposedly lifeless and drifting, give off a signal like that? It wasn't behaving like a comet. It wasn't behaving like anything we've ever seen before. And once again, NASA said nothing. Could it be alive? Philosophical train. By now, nothing about 3II Atlas seemed normal. Its light pulsed with an eerie rhythm, its surface shimmered with shifting colors, and its energy readings, they were changing. Almost like responses. That's when a small group of researchers proposed something that sent shock waves through the scientific world. What if it's alive? Not alive like us, with cells and blood, but something beyond biology as we know it. A self-repairing, self-sustaining structure. A kind of biomechanical traveler built to endure the endless dark between stars. Imagine a coral reef crossed with a spacecraft, something that grows, adapts, and heals itself. It sounded impossible, ridiculous even. Yet the data wouldn't let it go. Every new scan showed traces of elements behaving like organic tissue mixed with metal. And if that were true, then 3II Atlas wasn't just visiting our solar system, it was surviving. And maybe, just maybe, observing us in return. The pattern in its movement. At first, everyone assumed 3II Atlas was just drifting, a lonely traveler carried by cosmic winds. But then something changed. Tracking stations noticed tiny, deliberate shifts in its trajectory. Not random, not chaotic, purposeful. It was slowing down. And worse, it seemed to adjust when we looked at it. Every time a telescope locked on, its velocity twitched, almost like it knew it was being watched. Some called it a coincidence. Others whispered that no natural object behaves like that. To visualize it, imagine tossing a bottle into the ocean, only to see it swerve when a boat sails near. That's how unnatural it felt. The longer they observed, the clearer the pattern became. Subtle course corrections, tiny directional nudges, all timed around human observation windows. It wasn't just moving through space anymore, it was responding to us. And suddenly the question wasn't, what is 3i Atlas? It's, who's steering it? The final question. Resolution and open ending. Even now, 3i Atlas drifts closer. Silent, steady, and unexplainable. Every week, new images arrive from deep space telescopes, sharper than before, and each one shows something different. Tiny changes in shape, faint new lights flickering across its surface, as if it's waking up. Agencies worldwide claim they're still analyzing the data, yet key files keep vanishing. Private observatories report strange interference whenever they try to scan it. And all the while, 3i Atlas keeps coming. Not fast, not slow, just deliberate. Some believe it's on a simple gravitational path. Others think it's following us. Because if the pattern holds, its trajectory could bring it close, frighteningly close, to the inner solar system. So maybe the question isn't what 3i Atlas is anymore. Maybe it's why it's coming. And if it's not just drifting by accident, then who or what sent it?